Hello there, you're welcome back to Biology Video Lectures with Akarili Olademiji Philip. On today's edition, we'll be looking at something very interesting also, application of stem cells in medicine. From what you're seeing on the screen, is showing that we have about 15.63 billion US dollars to be spent on stem cell production, or the value in 2025. This is 2021, just about 4 years from now. Now that's to tell you how promising it is, even though there are still issues with that. We see that in some other lectures. Now let's look at how it is being applied. It says stem cells can be obtained from embryo or grown in the laboratory. Now these stem cells can be encouraged or stimulated to differentiate into most type of specialized cells. Now what we mean is that you stimulate it. Now this cell doesn't know what to do yet, it's just there, but you can make it grow the type of cells you want it to form. For example, somebody that is diabetic needs more cells in the islet of Langerhans in the pancreas, so you need insulin kind of producing cells there, so you can stimulate it to grow that type of cell. Then you're going to take that in that person's pancreas to replace that. So it says here the stimulation is made towards the type of tissue expected to be formed by the cells. So you want a particular type of cell in a particular part of the body, you stimulate it towards that. It says doctors and scientists could use stem cells technology to repair damaged organs by growing new tissues from stem cells produced by embryos created using genetic information from the patient. So you're going to do the stimulation. How? You're going to have, you must have taken genetic materials from a good cell from the person that is infected or has the issue. Then you insert that into these stem cells. So that is the instruction that the stem cell will use to form the type of cell you need to replace the damaged cell in that person's body. Hope that is making sense, because you need to, the stem cell doesn't know what to do. You only stimulate it to form the type of cell you want it to form. How do you do that? You have to take some information from the patient's body into the stem cell. Then the stem cell will use that to form the type of cell you want. It says adult stem cells can also be cultured in laboratory and made to differentiate into specialized cells, but of fewer types than the embryo. Yes, I told you at the beginning that the embryo cells can form anything, but in adult cells, what we have majorly are the stem cells of the bone marrow, which can only form blood cells. Now it says stem cells are promising solutions to some diseases such as what? Paralysis, diabetes mellitus, Parkinson's disease. Let's take a look at some of those things. Now looking at the screen here, I was able to get some of these things here. The first GIF on the right there is Parkinson's disease. It is whereby the basal ganglia of the person has issues. There's a part of the basal ganglia called, let me go in depth, that makes one fluid come, so a neurotransmitter called dopamine. So when there's not enough dopamine in someone's body, Parkinson's disease results, which has to do with tremor in the hand of the person, having some difficulty walking, postural defect, and all of that. Now all of this put together forms Parkinson's disease. Now this is a disease that has not been given a real cure called the management. Now it is not totally solved out at the moment. So the point is, the best way out is to find a way to replace the cells of the basal ganglia. So what we aim at here is to find stem cells that can differentiate to form cells of the basal ganglia that were secreting dopamine. That is like the solution here. The same thing happens here in diabetes mellitus, whereby the islet of Langerhans is exhausted, doesn't have enough cells to form insulin anymore. So in that case there, we need stem cells to replace the cells of the pancreas at that point. All right, so the point here is stem cells need to replace the absent cells at that point, or tissue at that point. The next thing is paralysis. In paralysis, we have of course, the cells that controls coordination has become faulty. It could be cerebrum. It could be the fact that the person has stroke. Stroke is when there's no enough blood flowing to the part of the brain. So when that part of the brain doesn't receive blood over a period of time, that part of the brain dies. And the part of the body that part of the brain controls become paralyzed. So what we can do is get stem cells, stimulate them to form the same type of cells in that region that has been dead. This is what it means basically. So how promising is it? Let's check that out now. So it says here, diabetes mellitus type 1, which means when the person does not have enough, it says this is the inability of the pancreas to produce enough insulin to control sugar level, because insulin brings down sugar level basically. Now, how stem cell can be used? Stem cells could be differentiated into insulin producing pancreatic cells, which are then transplanted into the patient's body. How beautiful. I mean, that is how it can be used. What is the source of the stem cells? Obtained from stem cells donor or therapeutic cloning. I will talk about therapeutic cloning later as a lecture in itself. So stem cells taken from embryo, then it's going to be cultured, grown in the laboratory. Then it's going to form the kind of cell you want, islet of Langerhans. Then you're going to take that into the person's body. Then another one is paralysis. It says damage to nerve in the brain or spinal cord. This will prevent the signal from the brain from reaching the muscles in the part of the body, and this will cause flaccidity of the muscles involved. Now, how does it work? Stem cells will be put in the affected area of the nervous system and be made to differentiate into the nerve cells. How beautiful can that be? Like I told you. So the whole thing here is we want stem cells to form the type of cell that was there before it became faulty. That's the best we can do it, because this disease I've mentioned, amongst others, can only be managed. There are no cure at the moment, but with stem cell, that's like a cure, because we are forming what was lost, really. All right, hope that has been helpful. Okay, that will be all for now. I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.